Another half hour of local news starts right now with a focus on rebuilding after Ian and the confusion about the codes you have to follow. Thanks for joining us here at 6:30. I'm Chris Earl.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. So Fox 4 is now clearing up that confusion, particularly with those who have to follow that 50% rule. But a letter sent by FEMA really stirred up even more uncertainty for those rebuilding.
A huge sigh of relief, but still a bit of apprehension.
That confusion calls for more clarity for so many homeowners on Estero Island all throughout Fort Myers Beach, as they tell Fox 4 that they felt that FEMA has been giving hurricane survivors the runaround when it comes to rebuilding their properties. We first reported last week how FEMA claimed property appraisals from the Lee County assessor had a wide disparity.
Now, this disparity made it harder for homeowners to rebuild under that 50% rule. Now FEMA has essentially retracted what they said in a new letter, saying that now towns and cities do have the authority to make sure that the values from the appraiser on your property are correct.
One homeowner tells Fox 4 housing reporter Caitlin Knapp this back and forth is very frustrating.
If you walked into my house right this second, you can see from one end to the other.
A home Anita Saracita, like many others, wants to rebuild.
It's got about 6.5 feet of water in it.
The problem? Confusion behind a FEMA letter about the 50% rule, which determines if you can get a permit to rebuild.
That set all of us into a bit of a tizzy.
Before going over the letter, let's go over what the 50% rule is. So Saracita's home has a market value of $250,000. That's determined by the Lee County Property Appraiser. To fall under this 50% rule, the cost to rebuild the home as it was before the storm must be $125,000 or less, hence 50%.
But this letter from FEMA on February 13th said otherwise. It stated they observed a wide disparity in how the Lee County Property Appraiser determined property values before the storm, further stating, we cannot determine if these values are acceptable.
Again, not the best news in the world.
So the town decided to use a different number, the cost value, meaning for people like Saracita,
which was $83,000. And that cost value would mean that I could spend $41,000 to fix my home, which I couldn't do.
Just 4 days later, another letter from FEMA stating municipalities have the authority to look at the values from the property appraiser, making sure they're sound and use consistent methodology, which is what FEMA questioned.
The repercussions of that letter were far-reaching, and it really sent a lot of folks into a tailspin, evidently unnecessarily.
I reached out to FEMA asking if they misunderstood the methodology. A spokesperson only said they're trying to better understand it and are sending teams to work with floodplain administrators. With a piece of confusion out of the way for homeowners, Saracita waits for her permit.
The thing I'm looking most forward to is being back in my place.
Reporting on Estero Island, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.